Welcome to Swolehammer. Today's battle is Mission 2.2 Full-Scale Assault from the Critical Operations Mission Pack for Into the Dark. So up first in the Gallowdark are my Death Guard. Some of my first models I ever painted. I'm happy to bring them on the channel. The list itself, there's just kind of an all-comers list. There's melee, there's heavy shooting, and there's virulent rounds for some extra punishment from afar.
Next up is the Hive Fleet that I've brought. I brought 2 fire teams of Tyranid warriors, mostly rule of cool, lots of very heavy melee that can take a hit, with 2 heavy gunners. I've got Death Spitters on 2 of them. One of them has a barbed strangler, and the other has a venom cannon for really heavy ranged punishment.
And on that note, let's see which team of 6 will prevail into the dark. The attack ops I picked for this game were Damage Limitation, Central Control, and Headhunter, because I am security and seek and destroy. They seem pretty reasonable.
For me, I went with Route, Deadly Marksman, and Headhunter, also pretty reasonable standard stuff. Deadly Marksman, I picked my Venom Cannon.
So for this mission, the middle objectives are with 1 VP, your home objectives aren't worth anything to you, and the opposing enemy drop zone objectives are worth 2 VP. Now let's get into the battle. So starting out the game, I got initiative, and so I did my icon bearer. I rang his plague bell, super important because it gives the operatives nearby a extra circle of move. Death Guard notoriously slow, and then he opens the door.
Yep, here I'm moving in my barbed strangler to a hallway that I anticipate being pretty active.
Then here goes my warrior with a grenade. He's holding the grenade, that's how I remember my equipment. And he switches his initiative because I did the scouting for it. He opens the door and goes on guard.
This is on the far side of the board.
Yeah, expecting early engagement for sure.
Here I'm moving in my venom cannon holder, opening the door on the way over to monitor the other kind of far side of the board for any threats that want to move in.
Then my leader, I just kind of do not care about his life apparently, and I go into the middle objective because I know it's important to get that single point lead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a bold move, but it's definitely looking to pay off.
He also goes on guard there.
True. Here comes my leader, opening the door into the same room. Just kind of getting ready and abusing those large bases in conceal order. Flyboy,
just a normal Death Guard warrior, goes up and just kind of is there for backup if need be.
Here I'm bringing in one of my fighters, which is actually my most dangerous melee killer, kind of getting in charge range for next turn into the large room that Rafiq's moved his leader into.
Heavy gunner kind of stays in position.
And here I'm going to move one of my Death Spitters in the doorway to try to get some pot shots off on your leader.
Yeah, I had to pop a lot of CP, revolting durability, and a CP reroll just to negate a lot of damage. A lot of damage came through.
Oh, here comes the Axe Boy charging down toward my Venom Cannon.
Yeah,
ominously.
My fighter just charging down that lane.
Taking a risk there as well. Here comes my other Death Spitter into the room where you have someone on guard but staying in conceal order.
And that's the end of turning point 1. I got 1 VP. As we go into turning point 2, I did malicious volleys and hateful assault for my strat boys.
And I did stalk.
And as we'll see,
yeah, just kind of using stalk to back up my guy with the venom cannon just to take it out of charge range of the large Cleaver. Angry Axeman.
Yeah, which is very smart. I change my engage order and I go into the room to try to get some pot shots off. 2 shooting actions because of malicious volleys. I get shot back by Riley with the Death Spitter, but it's full whiff as I save both of the attacks.
Yeah, I wanted to get some more damage on your leader, and then after the whiff, charged into the guy with the Plague Bell just to get him into engagement so I can't be shot.
But did not fight. And here's my leader fighting, actually, that Tyranid that just went in.
Yep. Looking pretty scary.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he just gets removed off of the board right here, which he does. The Power Fist, very deadly. But the leader's down to 4 wounds.
Which is great for me. Here, I'm going to go ahead and try to shoot with the Venom Cannon into your Cleaver. And I full whiff this shooting action as well, so I used Aggressive Biostrain to re-roll the attack, which is much more successful.
And it did way, way more damage. Here my guy goes in, proper grenade range for Into the Dark this time.
Oh yeah.
Square, and does a solid amount of damage to that Tyranid warrior.
It hurts. Almost kills it outright. Here comes the Barb Strangler trying to get in position to fire back, but it's heavy, so I couldn't do that just yet.
Also for Synapse.
Yeah.
Here, my heavy gunner actually goes to back up my guy in that far room as well that we just saw, and getting ready to take a little shot ski. Speaking of shot skis, Riley takes a shot at my warrior, and he ends up taking a fair chunk of damage in the process.
Oh, yeah.
So in quick sequencing here, Flyboy now goes to help the leader, and the icon bearer goes into guard. As Riley's leader comes in to charge my leader, the guard action pops off and I do an overwatch. Your leader takes a couple wounds, as then you fight my leader and completely annihilate him.
Yep.
He has no chance of staying, and then you get 2 VP for Headhunter.
Yeah, the second VP is because it's still the first 2 turning points.
The cleaver guy out of range, which is annoying, but he gets a double shoot with his bolt pistol and actually chunks off 12 wounds, which is
A lot.
kind of crazy. Malicious volleys.
Oh, yeah. Here we're going to move in with my ultimate fighty warrior boy into the icon bearer.
He does a lot of damage, but I make the most ridiculous, disgustingly resilient roll ever.
You saved 8 out of 14. I was livid.
Yeah. And then that's the end of turning point 2. We're still 3 VP to 2 VP, and it's very close. I do malicious volleys for my strat play. It's the only strat play that happens this turning point.
Yep. All right, moving my leader in to try to kill Flyboy here.
Yeah, he takes a good chunk of damage. Can't do anything because of that lash whip.
Yeah.
My great plague cleaver goes in for the most disappointing whiff ski of the whole game and ends up dying. The 4-up to hit for the plague cleaver, the brutal, killed me. Total regret.
Yep. Here I'm moving in my main fighter guy to try to kill the bell ringer. Can't quite make it happen. I chunk him quite a lot, and I don't take anything back, but failing to clear out this room is going to be a problem.
Yeah, the warrior goes in, malicious volleys, double shoots into the injured warrior, but doesn't die, which is insane.
Yep. Okay, turning around with the barb strangler, trying to shoot, and it's a full whiff, sadly.
Then my heavy gunner goes up just to finish off that 1 wound warrior, finally.
Yeah, he's gonzo. Gets removed from the table. Here I'm moving up my Venom Cannon Bearer, trying to get to the other end of the board so I can take some victory points, but he's injured, so he's slowed.
Overwatch from the Barb Strangler, and actually chunks the hell out of both those dudes.
Yeah.
Even though he's hitting on 5s.
Yeah. And from here we're looking at the end of turning point 3 and effectively the game.
As this battle shows, even the strong struggle to survive in the Gallowdark. As we push further in, who knows what threats and horrors will await into the dark. Stay tuned with us for more Kill Team. So that's the game. I want to start by saying that the score is pretty deceptive because my Plague Marines were getting pushed back pretty hard. And I know it's silly to say, oh, if there's only just one more round. But if there was one more round, I think Riley would have gotten close to tabling me.
It's possible. It's tricky because we were playing out, like, theoretically round 4 to see if I could catch up, and I just couldn't catch up on points. It seemed likely that I was going to almost tie you.
What we ended up doing is we had your Barb Strangler shoot into my 2 guys, again, because he had the blast.
Yeah, that was the most critical part.
Yeah, because then he would get the point, because he could kill both, but he did not. So that's kind of why we called it when we did.
Right, because your guys were still technically on the point, so you're still going to be getting VPs. I wouldn't be able to move after that because the gun had heavy, but I would at least be able to deny you those points, and then I could take that central area, and the Venom Cannon guy could move to the back point for another 2 victory points. But in the end, I just couldn't make it happen. The Death Guard were just too durable. And not failing to kind of clear out those rooms to move on to the points was where I tripped up. You being able to, or you being willing to make a ballsy play and move your guys out into the room where the victory points, where the objectives were in the end, paid off.
Yeah, well, I think it's like kind of silly because Death Guard are a 6-man team if you do Plague Marines, but they have 3 APL. The Tyranid Warriors they have 2 APL unless you use a command point to kind of like give 1 pseudo APL. It's like kind of silly because it just gave me a huge advantage in keeping the objective even though like I didn't even really deserve it, honestly.
I mean, it's, it is what the game is. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's pretty challenging for the Tyranid warriors, just because, yeah, if we have if I have 2 bodies on the points and then you have 2 bodies on the point, that's 4 APL versus 6. So I would have to have 3 even just to tie you.
Yeah, my icon bearer counted as an extra 1 for objective holding too.
Yeah, so even then I wouldn't tie you.
Yeah, so yeah, we went a lot of different ways to kind of see max points, and yeah, it just best case scenario maybe could have came out to a tie, but Riley didn't kill the last 2 guys when we did the theoretical shooting for turning point 4. But I mean, it was a fun game either way. Like, the Plague Cleaver totally disappointed me. I have a flail, and I usually take the flail, but it was like bigger dudes, and I was like, well, the 4-up sucks, but like 5/7 rending is like nasty as hell.
Oh yeah.
And he just totally flopped. But also because Riley made a smart play with stock, I didn't realize that was a thing. So there's a lot of back and forth, and it was definitely a fun game.
Yeah, there were a lot of great moments, I think, where both of us were making like clever plays that the other wasn't anticipating, and kept us each on our toes. And at the end of the day, I think it was a good game, and I hope that it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and Tyranid Warriors actually slap surprisingly hard. Their range is a little iffy because a lot of it's hitting on 4s, I believe. But like,
yeah,
good God, that melee gets scary because Lash Whip's taking away your attacks. But either way, as always, is Rafiq and Riley.
We've been Swolehammer. Stay swole.